What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you all. And today I'm here to record my first of many spooky season, October related Halloween videos, fall related videos to come. In general, spooky season. And I know it is only September 1st, but I feel like this is the perfect time to kick off spooky season. Now, I've put up my Halloween decorations already. I could not wait. I was just so excited to put them up. Of course, I'm going to add more to the collection as the next 2 months go on, but it's pretty much set up and I love it and it's just so perfect. But today's video is going to be covering my top 31 favorite horror movies of all time. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each movie, but I thought this would be a great way to kick off the spooky season. So happy September 1st to you all. I'll mention right now there are movies that I left off this list that were so hard not to put in this video just because I love them so much. And it was a hard list to make. Like, after my top 10, I was like, whew, I can't believe I left that one off, or where do I rank that? So probably in the next few years, this video is going to change. I think my top 10 will always be my top 10 though. Like, those are just right there. They're perfect. But as far as these movies go, the reason they're in my top 31 is because, you know, they're my go-to ones. They are some of the scariest movies I've ever seen. There's nostalgic there for them. And I just love them. And I watch them at least once or twice a year. And yeah, they're just fantastic. So some of these movies are definitely, or I think all of them will be movies I watch within the next couple months leading up to Halloween Day. But I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know what you think of the list. Let me know what you have on your list. Quick honorable mentions: Pet Sematary, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, It from 1990, It Chapter 1. They used to be on the list, but as I was going through this list, I was like, you know, they're awesome movies and I love them so much, but these are movies that I think I go to the most, or I do go to the most, and I really just love these films. So those are honorable mentions. But let's get started. Number 31 is John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. This is easily one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. I would say, like, I think top 4, top 5. Wherever you see this on this list, there are some other Carpenter movies that are better than this. However, this is one of my favorites. So number 31, Prince of Darkness, and it's actually one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And it might be Carpenter's scariest movie in my opinion. The story, the idea of the story is just terrifying. And I love this movie. So number 31, Prince of Darkness. Number 30, we have My Bloody Valentine, the original My Bloody Valentine. I've always loved this movie, but for some reason now I just have more of an appreciation for the movie, and it is just an awesome slasher movie, and it's an awesome horror movie. I watched this movie not only like on Valentine's Day, but I love watching the movie at least once or twice or 3 times a year. Definitely a go-to horror movie of mine, and you know, just a go-to slasher movie of mine. So My Bloody Valentine, awesome movie, perfection. Number 29, The Howling, my second favorite werewolf movie of all time. You'll see my favorite werewolf movie coming up down the list, but The Howling is amazing. In my eyes, these movies are all perfect. So every one of these movies, they're perfection. So you might hear me say that a lot with them, but The Howling is awesome. Great practical effects, great cast, great scares. This movie is actually scary in my opinion. It's got some really good scary moments. And I just love this movie so much. So, The Howling, number 29. Number 28, we have Suspiria. Used to be higher on the list, but as I was creating this list, I was like, there are some other movies that I go to a lot more. Let's see, what was this, 28? I kind of messed up a little bit, so I had to stop the video. But number 28, Suspiria. So, but yeah, like I was mentioning, this used to be higher up on the list, and I just, looking at this list, I was like, there are other movies that I think are, I don't want to say they are better, but I love Suspiria so much. This is still a perfect movie. Like, this is perfect. I love Suspiria so much. It is my favorite Dario Argento movie, and without a doubt, will always be my favorite Dario Argento movie, but it will be always in like my top 30 list, and years down the road it could go up again, so you just never know. But right now it is at number 28. So Suspiria, absolutely love it. Number 27, a movie that doesn't get a lot of talk, and I really think it needs more talk. This is a great Severin release, and that is The Changeling. This is the 4K. 1980 or 1981, spooky haunted house movie, fantastic, and I just absolutely love it. George C. Scott, wonderful in this. The cast is overall great. Has one of the best what do you want to call it, like medium scenes in the movie, where they're all gathering around a table and they're trying to contact the ghost in the house, and it is terrifying. Check out The Changeling if you've never seen it. It is one of the best haunted house movies. Number 27. I believe this is 27. No, this is 26. Okay, let's see. 20. Okay, this is 26. Sometimes I'll lose count. So, number 26, Witchboard. Like The Changeling, underrated compared to a lot of the other movies on this list. I grew up with this movie. I remember watching this movie for the first time, renting it on VHS, and it just terrified me. And I'm not going to lie, it still terrifies me today. And it does have a fan base. People do talk about it, but it doesn't get enough talk. So if you've never seen Witchboard, or if it's been forever since you've seen this movie, go watch it this Halloween season. Scares me again still today. Spooky, atmospheric. Love the cast. Rest in peace, Tawny Gatane, and the actor who played Malfador. I love it. So definitely check that one out. Number 25, the only Friday the 13th film on this list, which again, really hard because there are so many I love in this franchise. But of course this had to make the list. And number 25, Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. My favorite of the franchise, and one of my go-to Friday the 13th movies. I love the cast, love the one-liners, love the soundtrack. Amazing. So, number 25, Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Number 24, we have Phantasm. And I pulled out the DVD because it is signed by Don Coscarelli. And this is a great release of the movie. Of course, there's, other fantastic releases out there. You got the remastered 4K Blu-ray, or not 4K, but it's like I guess just Blu-ray. It's amazing. And I have so many editions of this movie, but this is awesome. And it has a great documentary as well. Phantasm, absolutely love it. Terrifying. Angus Grimm, rest in peace. I met him. My autograph's over there. I wish I would have brought it over. But I love this movie. So, great mausoleum atmospheric horror movie. Number 22. Hopefully I'm not losing count. I feel like I am. But number 22, I think this is 22. I think so, yeah. Number 22 is Return of the Living Dead. My third favorite zombie movie. It used to be my second favorite, but it always goes back and forth. Still, the movie will always be in this top 30 and might even be in my top 20 list later on down the road. videos, and, you know, just some of my favorite horror movies of all time. But The Return of the Living Dead, amazing. Zombie movie, fantastic soundtrack, a good mix of spooky, atmospheric, horror comedy, like all of that mixed around. Like it does such a great job with the comedy and the horror movie aspects that I just love it so much. And you got great iconic characters. So yeah, Return of the Living Dead. Then we have Scream. So I think this is 21. Just know that this is like my number 31 through 20. So, and then we'll go to the next ones. But Scream, iconic. I mentioned in my last video, Scream 2, Scream 1, they're neck and neck. And some days I like Scream 2 better. But right now it's Scream. I just watched this one last week and I just love it so much. I will be revisiting the franchise, and I might rank the franchise because I don't think I've ever ranked them. And if I have, it's been a long time. Like, I saw Scream 6 and Scream 5, and I don't think I've ranked them. I don't think I've had a franchise ranking in a long time. Anyway, Scream, iconic. I've talked about it before recently, but I love this movie, and I love the franchise. So number 20, we have the original, the Amityville Horror. And again, I want to just give a shout out to Amityville 2: The Possession, because I love that. And I think that's the scariest of the franchise, but this is my go-to of the franchise. And it is scary. And I love the cast. And it's such a great, spooky, haunted house movie. And I love spooky haunted house movies. And I love the build-up and the development of these characters and the development of the story and where the movie goes. So, the original Amityville Horror, definitely on my list, and will always be in that top favorite list for me. So, absolutely love it. So, I kind of went and I recounted, and I realized that I did 31 through 21. So, this is going to be 20 through 11. So coming in at number 20, it is so hard to put this movie at number 20. Again, this list was really tough to make, and this movie could go up, or probably will go up later on down the road. But that is John Carpenter's The Thing. And you're going to see quite a bit of Carpenter movies on this list, because he is my favorite director and my favorite horror movie director. So, made me fall in love. He's one of the reasons why I love film. But The Thing, what can I say that hasn't already been said? It is just iconic, and it's crazy that when this movie came out, it was so panned and bombed at the box office, and now this movie is loved by moviegoers and critics. But The Thing is amazing, and I watch it again 2 or 3 times a year. So it will definitely be watched within the next 2 months, and then of course, during those winter seasons, it gets a lot of playback. So The Thing, absolutely love it. Number 19. I'm going to try to keep up with the numbers. If not, you'll know that this is 20 through 11. But another Carpenter movie. And again, it's so painful to put this movie like this low on the list because I just love it so much. And that is The Fog. I've always loved The Fog. Seeing it on TV for the first time just had the perfect memories for me. And, you know, I've watched it numerous times on TV. You know, I have a autographed DVD signed by Adrienne Barbeau, but I brought out the steelbook because I really love the steelbook. This is just one of my favorites. I just love it so much. And it gets played, again, 2 or 3 times a year. So, The Fog. I will be watching this sometime within the next couple months, but just absolutely love it. You all know about these movies, so I'm not really going to talk about, like, you know, the stories or anything like that, but, you know, I'll talk about why I love them. I think they're just fantastic. So, coming in at number 18, we have Salem's Lot from 1979. Now, this is a TV movie, But in my eyes, I've always seen it as just a movie in general. I love this. I love all these movies. This would be, in the top 10 scariest movies of all time for me, or, even like top 10 scariest movie scenes. I mean, this has a lot of scary moments in it, and it just holds up so well, and I love it. And again, like some other movies I've mentioned, I think it just gets better and better and better as the movie goes on. I believe the first Tobe Hooper movie on this list, and there's at least there's two more. Well, actually, one's gonna come up in just a moment, but Salem's Lot, fantastic. If you've never seen it, watch it. I know I'm so excited for the new one coming out on Max or HBO Max next month, but watch this if you've never seen it, then go watch the new one. But Salem's Lot, just a gem right there. I love it. Number 17. Yes, number 17, we have another Tobe Hooper classic, and that is Poltergeist. Now, some people would say this is a Steven Spielberg movie, technically, but it's directed by Tobe Hooper, and I will always stand by that. Yes, Steven Spielberg is iconic, and this is the story that he created from the nightmares that he had as a kid. And you can't take that away. I love Steven Spielberg, and you see a lot of Steven Spielberg in this movie. However, I also see Tobe Hooper in this, and there's some great scenes where I'm like, that is Tobe Hooper. And I love that. But yeah, Poltergeist. It is like, for me, it's iconic. It is scary. Again, I love haunted house scary movies. Those are some of the movies that just really creep me out, and love Poltergeist. So number 17, I think. Yeah, number 17. Again, we're just going with this list. So coming in at number 16, we have Carrie, the iconic Carrie. Love these steelbooks. So yeah, Carrie is, again, one of the first movies I just remember having me fall in love with movies. Like, the prom scene, the way it's directed and the way Brian De Palma did that all, did all of that in that whole prom scene. The way he directed the prom scene was just wonderful, with like the two scenes side by side and the colors and everything. Just fantastic. Amazing movie, amazing performances. Carrie, just wonderful. So I will be watching that again this upcoming spooky season. Number 15, we have The Exorcist. William Friedkin, William Peter Blatty. Rest in peace to them both. Ellen Burstyn, I love. Linda Blair. The cast in general is just wonderful. I used to say Exorcist 3 was the best of the franchise, but I rewatched this one not too long ago, and this is the best. I say iconic a lot, and a lot of these movies are iconic, and if they're not iconic, they did something to the horror movie genre that changed the genre. And this was one of those first movies. We were kind of diving out of the Hammer horror movies, and this was like early 70s, so like Hammer horror movies, they were still around, and you were getting them within the 70s, but like this was changing up that genre, one of the subgenres that was changing the horror movie genre. And I love The Exorcist, and it's fantastic, and never gets old for me. It gets better, actually. I love it. Number 14, another movie that changed the horror movie genre, and this is for me a great subgenre, but I think the better of the zombie movies were like the late 60s and 70s and 80s. Still have some great ones though that I won't take away how awesome they are from like, the 90s and the 2000s and so on. But this started it, and that is 1969, 1968's one of them, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And I pulled this DVD out because it is signed by the legend George A. Romero. Like, this is a signature that came with the DVD, but I met him, and that was wonderful. And it's signed by Judith O'Dea, who played Barbara. And this is a great release of the movie. But yes, Night of the Living Dead, just fantastic. So, it's, again, 1968, 1969, but it still holds up really well. And it's still one of the scariest movies out there. So I think it's scary. Coming in at number 13, we have my favorite werewolf movie, American Werewolf in London. I used to say Howling was my favorite, but I rewatched them years ago, and I was like, this is my favorite. Again, awesome practical effects. The best werewolf transformation in any werewolf transformation comes in this movie, is from this movie. And I just love it so much. So, American Werewolf in London, John Landis, great movie there. I think number 11, Ridley Scott's Alien. I've talked about this movie so many times, and I recently did a ranking and talked about the franchise, so I won't talk about it too much, but it is still, I said this is the scariest movie of all time. It's not my favorite horror movie of all time, but it is the scariest one. Like, when you're talking about the movie in general, as a whole, for me, this is the scariest. Because literally, after the iconic facehugger, chest burster scene happens, like, the movie just does not stop when it comes to the scares. And it's iconic in so many ways. So, Alien for me, I just love it. And number 10, I believe number 10, if not number 11. Again, I lose count. Jaws. Almost left this movie off on this list. How dare I? And then I thought about it. I was like, I don't have Jaws on this list. So, yes, Jaws makes the list. And I love it so much. And I saw it last year in theaters. And the opening is still frightening. It is still terrifying in so many different ways. Like, just the idea of being killed by a shark in general is scary. And, you're afraid to go in the water. But it's just, and it's an iconic opening, but it's a scary opening. And it still holds up so well today. And just in general, I love this movie. So yes, this definitely had to make the list. Again, I think this is number 10. I think number 11. So, yeah, 20 through 11. There we go. So now we're going to go on to my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. So this is 10 through 1. So the last one was 20 through 11. This is 10 through 1. So coming in at number 10, Black Christmas. Bob Clark's Black Christmas from 1974. One of the first horror movies that would introduce the slasher subgenre. And it's one of the scariest movies of all time. If you've never seen Black Christmas, watch it this year. I tend to watch it again once or twice a year, 2 or 3 times a year. It is played in my Blu-ray 4K player quite a bit. And I have, I think, 2 or 3 editions of this movie. One of them is a DVD signed by the late Margot Kidder. But yeah, Black Christmas. Love it so much. Love the point of view shots. And I think it's scary still today that we do not know who the killer really is. We know his name's Billy. We see his eye at one point. But that's it. And you hear that iconic, creepy voice. But I love the cast. I love the movie. Rest in peace, Bob Clark. Just amazing. Number 9, The Evil Dead. Now, this sometimes goes back and forth between Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. And yes, Evil Dead 2 is not on this list. It's not. And it's wrong that it's not on this list. But honestly, there are, some other movies that needed to be in that top 31 list. But Evil Dead 2 is amazing, and honorable mention there. Evil Dead, though, I think holds up for me better than any of the other Evil Dead movies, because I think this was the first Evil Dead movie I saw. If not, for me, it was the most... I had the best memories with this movie, and it scared the crap out of me when I first saw it. Hopefully that's not language for YouTube. But yeah, it scared me. It literally, just scared me when I first saw it. And it still scares me today. Like, not like one of the scariest movies of all time, but there are scary moments in this movie that are just frightening. You know, and some people might call it cheesy today. And yes, when you rewatch it, especially on like 4K or something like that, you're like, oh, I see that change there. And that doesn't like, it's not the best makeup work, but like, in my opinion, like this stuff was scary when I first saw the movie. And when you watch it on VHS or even like a DVD like this, I mean, it's pretty terrifying. So I love this edition of Evil Dead. It is the best. It has so many great bonus features and fantastic. So, number 8, Dawn of the Dead. Another George A. Romero movie on this list. And I think one of the rare times when we have 2 movies from a franchise on this list. But Dawn of the Dead is wonderful. I love it. Perfect setting. I love the mall setting. My favorite zombie movie of all time. And I just think it's great. Is it one of the scariest movies of all time? No, it's not like I'm on the edge of my seat, but it's iconic in so many ways. And, you know, what I love about Romero and what he did with every one of his Dead films is they all just seem different, but they connect in the same universe. And that's what makes great movies in a franchise. It's one of the things that make great movies in a franchise work is when every one of the movies stand on their own and they feel different. And I love George A. Romero, rest in peace. Dawn of the Dead, just wonderful. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to go through these pretty quick. But number 6, Psycho. I talked about this in my previous video. Love this movie. My favorite of the franchise. And just iconic. So Psycho, it probably is, if not one of the very first movies that introduced the slasher subgenre. And maybe it wasn't doing that intentionally, but it is one of the first. And it's iconic still today, and there's a reason why people talk about it, because it is iconic. So I love that movie so much. Number 5 and number 4 are in the same franchise. Again, very rare to have 2 movies in a franchise on this list for me. But number 5, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Literally the first horror movie to scare me. 5 years old, sitting behind a couch when I wasn't supposed to be watching this, and just terrified me. And it took me a long time to rewatch this movie, but it is iconic. All these movies are iconic. They're perfection. And I love this movie. So I am looking forward to the 4K release. I cannot wait to pick that up. Number 4, same movie in the franchise, or a different movie in the franchise, but it's also directed by Wes Craven. That is A New Nightmare. Yes, so I think this movie's perfect. And I love what Wes did with it, making it a standalone movie in the franchise. You have Freddy in it, but it's a different Freddy. And it's a terrifying Freddy. And you also have one of the best performances, not only in a horror movie, but in a movie in general, and that is from Heather Langenkamp. Love her in this. So, for me, New Nightmare, it is my favorite of the franchise, but as you can see, 5 and 4 are very close together, because I think Nightmare, the original Nightmare film, is one of the scariest movies of all time. It's iconic, it's perfect, but I also think Wes Craven's New Nightmare is perfect, and they both need to be together. I love it. So number 4, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Tobe Hooper again. Love this edition, signed by the cast. I just adore it, and I have so many editions of this movie. But this is great because it is signed by the cast. Marilyn Burns, Gunnar Hansen, rest in peace. They signed it. I love it. Awesome. Awesome movie. I rewatched that franchise, or I revisited that franchise, and I love that franchise so much. Number 3, Fright Night for real. Welcome to Fright Night for real. There we go. But yeah, Fright Night for me will always, always be in the top 3 favorite horror movies of all time for me. Used to be number 2. But it's number 3. And number 3 is pretty freaking amazing. Iconic list right there. You're in the top 3. So, anyway, I love Fright Night so much. You all know I love this movie so much. And I watch it again. This one I watch probably 3 or 4 times a year. I love it. And Tom Holland, I cannot wait to meet him next month at Scarefest. Looking forward to it. And this is iconic. Number 2, The Blair Witch Project. So many people today, not so many, but I feel like, you know, people who watch this for the first time, or at least half of the horror movie fans that we have today, don't like this movie. And I don't understand. I mean, we all have our likings, so I understand that. I mean, you probably have seen this list and you're like, oh, why did you have that on the list? Or why did you not put so-and-so movie on this list? You know, so we all have our likings, but like Blair Witch Project for me, so many memories with this, and just, it's awesome. I love it. I love it so many years later. Is it 25 years old now? Yeah, it's 25 years old. 25th anniversary, I believe. Iconic. I think it's iconic. I love it. It is legit one of my go-to movies. Just love the Blair Witch Project. And number 1, don't really need to talk about it too much. Y'all know what it is. And if you don't, maybe you're new to the channel and this is the first video you're watching of mine. But Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. My favorite John Carpenter movie, my favorite movie of all time, and my favorite horror movie of all time. This is what made me fall in love with movies in general. Watching this movie for the first time on AMC, USA, and then having a VHS copy of it, which I still have, DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks. This is not the best 4K release, but I just love this release as well, so, you know, I'm always going to showcase my Halloween releases somehow, and I love that slipcover, and I just love it so much. So yes, John Carpenter's Halloween. It is, for me, a scary movie. It's not the scariest movie of all time, but it's a scary movie. The way it's lit, the way it's directed, the acting is great, and you just have some iconic moments in this film, so iconic score as well. But Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, my favorite horror movie of all time when it comes to my top 31 favorite horror movies of all time list. So, anyway, stay tuned for many, many more videos to come, everybody. It is the kickoff to the spooky season. Whoa. And I have a lot of things planned. So, stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you for getting me to 4,500 subscribers. I love what I do, but I really love doing it for you all, and I just appreciate your support. So thank you for that. So as always, y'all are awesome, y'all rock, and in with positive, out with the negative, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.